Hello, welcome to another episode of Cultural Arts Talks. Today we have another guest.
Hello, my name is Samrach.
All right, so today we're gonna kind of dive into Cambodian traditional music. And first, I kind of just want to ask you, how did you get into Cambodian music?
Yes, so I've been around Cambodian music ever since I was a little baby, but it wasn't until I was about 13, 14 years old that I started to take notice of Cambodian music.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that was just Cambodian music in general, since but it wasn't until I was like 16 that I really started wanting to play traditional music.
Ah, I see. Mm-hmm. So about 16, you started playing traditional music, and what instrument did you pick up first?
So the first instrument I picked up was the Chloe because it was the easiest to get in the United States. I ordered one from eBay that I found,
Oh.
and it didn't work very well. So I made my own after that.
Oh, okay. So you made your own Chloe. Did you still have that one that you
I
made?
do. I made it when I was well, I think I was a freshman in high school. I made my first Chloe. Is this one right here? I actually made three of them, but this is the only one that still survives that's playable.
Gotcha. I see. What'd you make that out of?
So this is made out of a 3/4 inch PVC pipe, and
Okay.
it's about 14 inches long.
All right. Very cool. And also, what other instruments did you pick up with Khmer traditional music?
So I also picked up the trosao, which is can be described as a spiked fiddle, similar to the erhu, Chinese erhu.
Mm-hmm.
I also picked up the trou, which is a low-pitched erhu. Um, Chapei dongwang, which is a long neck two-string lute.
Mm-hmm.
And the Reniet Ike and the Reniet Tong, the bass xylophone and high-pitched xylophone, 21
Gotcha.
keys.
Mm-hmm.
I can pretty much play I can play most things except for the Kim, which the hammer dulcimer. I cannot play that. That's too hard for me.
Oh, I feel that. Can you also do the K?
Yes, I do the K. I don't have the K of my own, but I play someone else's to it's an instrument I've wanted to play for a long time, so when I got the opportunity, I was like, yeah, let me take this with me.
Oh, those are so cool. Gotcha. Are there any other Khmer instruments you want to learn how to play as well?
I also play the Sorlai, which I think in Thailand they call the P9.
Hmm.
It's a quadruple reed. Kind of they compare it to an oboe, but I don't think it's that similar to an oboe really.
Not really. Kind of, but not really.
Yeah, but, I can play that. I really wish I was better at it. It's just a really hard instrument to play.
Yeah, they are. They're really cool. It's like you have to. I'm not really sure on how you even do the whole reed thing. You have to like submerge it in water or something, or make sure it's wet when you play it.
You're not supposed to submerge it in water, but a lot of people do. I do just to make it soften up quicker. I got a bag of reeds right here.
Oh, gotcha.
But yeah, and you have to do a lot of stuff with your mouth, like a lot of internal movements to change the sounds. You get like 26 different notes with only six holes.
Oh wow. Oh, oh shoot. So it's definitely different than a Cloy then.
Oh yes, if you can play Chloe, you can not guaranteed you can play Sly. I thought that I would be, great at it, but no, I suck.
Oh no. Well, definitely. Well, I've heard you play it. I think you're pretty good at it. So.
I have two different kinds. This is like my one. This is made of I think it's either made of Nguyen or Pinyung, but it's a really, really, really large grain. This is from Cambodia, and
Hmm.
then the Solai I play most of the time is this one right here, which is made of what is it? Uh, Chinchan. I think it's a
Oh.
type of Thai rosewood.
Oh wow. I
Yeah,
see.
I play this one because it's in tune with Western key, so it's in standard key.
Nice.
The Khmer one is in traditional.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And can you briefly kind of tell us like a little bit of the difference between the standard key and the Khmer one?
So let me think of this in my head. So the standard West key is the key that most people use today, and so standard means that I guess you can kind of translate it to like it's a Western style of tuning. So like playing a piano, that's
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
considered standard. Um, you can play in tune with a Western orchestra. It's a lot easier to tune too because it's
Right.
A B C D E.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the traditional tuning, which is like it's slightly flat. I guess it's comparable to in like you know how tuning in the 17th century in Europe
Yes.
was everything was kind of a little flat.
Gotcha. It was like 432 hertz or something.
Exactly,
Mm-hmm.
it's similar to that way.
Gotcha. Oh,
And
wow.
nowadays, Phnom Penh Phnom Penh uses traditional tuning, which is out of tune, and Siem Reap uses standard.
Interesting. Okay. Okay.
Which it wasn't always that way.
Oh,
So like I have recordings from like 1930 where they're playing in standard.
wow.
Um, the recordings from 1909 they're playing in standard as well, and
Huh.
only the later recordings they're playing in that f more flat.
Trying to bring back that traditional tuning. Interesting.
hmm
What do you like better?
I like the international because everything sounds better, you know.
I
When
see.
you play an international, it's a lot easier to tune together. When you play like the hard thing is if you have someone with with a Runiet that's tuned in a traditional way, you can't play if
Oh
you
yeah,
have
yeah.
standard instruments. Like they don't sound right at all. It sounds horrible.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be careful. You have to make sure everybody has it. Then if you're traveling, you have to have two sets of instruments. So you have to have
Oh
two sets
wow.
of Solai. You have to have two sets of Cloy. You have to have two sets of Runiet. You know, it's just a big hassle.
Oh my gosh, I see. So your main instrument, what would you say your main instrument is?
My main instrument, I was probably Chloe still, but
Okay.
I have gotten a lot better at playing throw sao and chipai. I play a lot too. So I would say throw sao and Chloe.
Okay, very cool. Now, so do you think my music has changed over time?
Oh, I think that Khmer music has changed like exponentially in the past,
Mm-hmm.
what, 110 years, even 70 years, 50 years even.
Oh wow, wow. I see. What was Khmer music like before, and how did it change? Was it in a good or a bad way? Do you think?
I think that Khmer music has changed. It kind of just hasn't, I mean, in recent history, it hasn't done much really. It's
Mm-hmm.
like there are no real famous singers. There is no real, you know, new genre of music. I mean, most of the good music is still from the 60s and 70s that people generally listen to.
Mm-hmm.
After the Khmer Rouge, there really hasn't been much advancement in music. Everything's
Right.
just been standing still.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest change in Khmer music, I think, was between, I'd say, the 1920s to the 1940s, when
Right.
Western music was starting to take its grasp in Cambodia
Uh-huh.
and even in, Indochina in general.
Mm-hmm. And as for traditional music, pretty much same question, but with traditional music, do you think Khmer traditional music has changed in the last 100 years or so?
I think so. I think that a lot of music that is played now isn't really tied that closely to how it was played before, like a lot of I mean after the Khmer Rouge, Thailand was a big influence in trying to keep the traditional arts alive, and I think that a lot of influence from Thailand has changed the way my music is played,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you have firsthand sources like the recordings from the turn of the 19th century
Mm-hmm.
to not 19th century, from the 1900s to modern day. Just the way they play is like night and day. Like nobody plays the way they played 100 years ago.
So do you think Khmer music, Khmer traditional music, has gotten more similar to Thai traditional music, or has it diverged from it? Do you think?
I think that it's diverged both from Thai music
Mm-hmm.
and Khmer music.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's kind of taken its own turn and created something different, um, especially with the way people sing now.
Mm-hmm.
Traditional music is not even comparable to the way they sang even in 1960, even just
Mm-hmm.
before the Khmer Rouge. For example, you hear when people sing traditional music, they sound like pop singers. They don't focus on that sound. The it's I think it's too refined the way people sing now. They want to sound perfect, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes sounding perfect isn't the perfect
It
sound,
it
if that
doesn't
makes
work.
sense.
Yeah, it doesn't always work. That's for sure.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. What would you think? What do you think the main differences between Dontray Khmer and Dontray Thai are?
Um, Ben Beat or Pipat, which funny people are gonna get mad at me for saying this, but Ben Beat was not called Ben Beat. It was actually called Pipat. Is what the Khmer Ben Beat was called. It was called
Oh.
Pipat.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it changed in like 1930s when they did the language reform.
Uh-huh.
Chunat did the language reform and they changed a lot of the spelling. So Pipat got turned to Ben Beat.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that the main difference is just the way we play compared to the way Thai, and I think it has to do with the way the language is really. Thai language is a tonal language,
Mm-hmm.
um, and Khmer music, Khmer singing or Khmer language is not tonal,
Mm-hmm.
so you can have a lot more freedom with how you sing and how you play music can match the way. A lot of Thai music is very very fast,
Mm-hmm.
Khmer
Yeah.
music is very very mellow and flows very subtly,
Mm-hmm.
slight variations. Um, uh, Another difference is in Mahauri.
Uh-huh.
Thai Mahauri and Khmer Mahauri are like worlds apart.
Uh-huh.
Modern Khmer Mahauri is similar, is what I guess Thai in Thai called Krung Sai, um, which in Khmer Krung Sai is the same thing, a string orchestra, a string group.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Literally means so. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Thai Mahari I would compare to playing Khmer, which is like a pre-European string ensemble with a chapai and a throw ksai bay or Thai call it a saw sam sai
Mm-hmm.
and saw oo and a throw oo with the big cloy and
Mm-hmm.
maybe you'd have some goblet drums in there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that in that sense, the just similar with Benfica, the tempo is different.
Mm-hmm.
The way the architecture of the music is different, played the way they sing. However, there are a bunch of songs that they play in Thailand that Cambodians play too, and vice
Mm-hmm.
versa. There's a bunch of Thai songs that Cambodian people play, and there's a bunch of Cambodian songs that people in Thailand play.
Mm-hmm. Now, like one thing I kind of noticed throughout time, from the early 1900s until now, a lot of ensembles are dropping the ching in the ensembles. Is that something that's happening, or why is that happening?
I'll be honest with you, Ching is like one of the most important instruments in the
Mm-hmm.
ensemble, and just it comes down to preference. A lot of people don't like the Ching, or it's in their eyes more useful instead of having a Ching player, have someone to play another instrument. Like
Mm-hmm.
say you have a Benbiat group, and you are missing someone to play Reniet Tong or Renat
Mm-hmm.
Tom. Um, it would be more advantageous in some people's eyes to have the Ching player play that instead and just
Hmm.
drop the Ching altogether.
I see, I see. I kind of had a hunch, just to kind of drop it because, like, there's a quote unquote more important part to play, I guess. But I mean, arguably
Yeah,
so, yeah.
if you can hold a beat, get someone to play Ching. I mean, having someone play Ching in an ensemble it just adds that much more to it. The feel,
Hmm.
You listen to a recording with a Ching and without one, it's like it just doesn't sound right.
Right, right. I kind of noticed that. I was just really curious. Which era of Khmer music do you think was the peak?
I personally think the peak of Cambodian music was from this kind of pinpoint exact times from the end of World War II all the
Hmm.
way to the beginning of the Khmer Rouge. I think that
Hmm.
era of music has the most advancement, the most change, the most,
Hmm.
you know, variation compared to any other era.
Gotcha. I would also have to agree with that. And who would you say your favorite singers from that era would be?
So from the golden era, which people define golden era as like 1960 to 1975, I'd
Hmm.
have to say it's really hard. I like
Hmm.
Sensei Smut a lot, and he's like undeniably the best. But I really like the sound of the voice of Im Song Sim and
Hmm.
Chige Sabun. I
Hmm.
really like those two singers.
So
The
underrated.
I really like the singers that you don't really hear much of, like In Ying, Ang
Hmm.
Nare. You don't really hear them that often
You
compared to
don't.
Sensei Smut.
That's true. That's true. And I would argue that Ugnari is as can be as good as Sensisamut sometimes. I would argue that.
I agree. It definitely, depending on which genre they're singing,
Hmm.
like they can be like this.
Yeah, it's hard to tell sometimes. Hmm.
It is.
So you have a record collection. Can you kind of tell me a little bit about that? What kind of records you collect and where you've been finding them and whatnot?
I collect Cambodian recordings from 1900 all the way to 1975. So when they stopped making
Hmm.
records. Um, I started collecting those when I was 16, and my first record I got was this one right here. This is The Enchanted
Oh
Forest.
wow.
This is music by King Notre Dame,
Hmm.
1967. This was
Hmm.
actually by the Royal University of Fine Arts,
Oh wow.
and this was the one of the first records I got. And after that, I listened to it and was like, this isn't really my style of music. But I found some Sensation recordings after that, and then I just kept going and going and going. Um, I might have like 150 records that span from
Oh
1900
wow.
to 1979. And
Hmm.
my what I like to do is I like to find old recordings and I like to study them and try and recreate the songs as they were played in that time.
And I've heard them. They're fantastic. You emulate the old style really well when you
Oh,
record.
thank you.
So yeah. Now you did say you had records up until 1979, so that is beyond when the Khmer Rouge regime started. So there was music being produced at that time. Yeah.
Yes, there was music produced at time, but it was not music for Cambodian people. It was exported to other countries like it was exported to Vietnam, it was exported to communist China, North Korea, you
Mm-hmm.
can East Germany,
Oh, interesting.
um, kind of like gifts between the communist leaders. Um, so these recordings were like recordings of like revolutionary music. Like the one that I have, which they made a few, they made maybe three or four communist era recordings, and they are called Songs of the Cambodian Revolutionaries.
Sounds scary.
It is. I played them one time, and my grandmother, she came running over saying, "What is this? Where'd you get this from?
Oh,
That's horrible."
oh
So I
my
stopped playing. I haven't played it
gosh.
since.
I'd freak out too. Oh my gosh. All right. Any projects that you're working on right now?
Oh, right now I'm working on restoring some records. I got some a Yai record, which a Yai is my favorite genre of Cambodian music. I just love it. I love the way they talk bad about each other and
It's
insult
like
each other. It's
it's
amazing.
the best
But
roasting ever.
I've got a few of those that I'm trying to fix to make them playable again, and then
Mhm.
record and post on YouTube for anyone to listen to, anyone who's interested.
Very cool.
Um, my big thing is releasing as much traditional music for people who want to listen without having to pay money.
For
Like
sure, for sure.
it's something that no one should own. It should just be available to everybody.
Hmm. A lot of Khmer people are very they don't really like to let go or really share a lot of
They're very
rarities.
protective of
Hmm.
their stuff. Yes.
Hmm.
Um, me. I think it does more good to make it available to
Just make
everybody.
it
One's
available.
like,
Hmm.
especially people like in Cambodia, like a lot of these songs haven't been heard in 100 years or
Hmm.
80 years. Like people have totally forgotten about these songs. So
Hmm.
to have people hear them and get them back into the community as songs that are played and again,
Hmm.
that's what one of my big goals is.
How can we save Khmer traditional music, and how would you pass this down to future generations in order to save it? What would you do?
I think that saving traditional music is probably one of the hardest battles that my culture will ever face. Um, because there's not really many people interested in it.
Right.
And so I think we should expose people to it, expose the young people to it even more, encourage people to, try and learn if they don't want to learn how to play, but at least learn about it, be
Hmm.
educated on it, know that the music, like with any culture, music is the heart and soul, the identity of a people.
Hmm.
So having people learn about Khmer music and what it means. Each of the songs, they hold a purpose for Khmer people, and I think that just in general, educating people is what we need to do and encourage people to learn it more and not force them to do it,
Right. Right.
but make it something, enjoyable, something fun, and have a teacher and they're whipping you with a bamboo pole saying, "No, you played wrong."
Oh yeah.
It's hard because a lot of the people who know how to play are at an age where they cannot play as well as they used to, or
Hmm.
they've forgotten a lot of the songs.
Hmm.
So especially for me, like me trying to save it, I'm just trying to learn as much as I can while there are a few teachers around, just so
Hmm.
I can, do my part. I want to save my music as much as the next person, but you got to start somewhere. You got to learn from somebody.
Hmm. So we're gonna go ahead and transition to some fun rapid fire questions here. So I'm gonna just start with, what's your favorite dessert?
Oh, my favorite dessert, probably cheesecake.
Cheesecake. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Oh, I am definitely a night owl. I do not like to get up early.
Feel it. Cats or dogs?
I like both.
Okay.
I prefer dogs over cats though.
Okay. What's your go-to karaoke song?
My go-to karaoke song will probably be Bopa Chiang Mai.
Oh, Pachi. Nice. Gotcha. All right. You like coffee or tea more?
I'm definitely a tea person.
Gotcha. Cake or pie?
Pie.
Pie.
It's gotta be warm though. Gotta be warm.
iPhone or Samsung?
I am a Samsung person. I've been Samsung my whole life.
Nice, nice. Do you watch anime? And if so, what are your favorite ones?
I really like Studio Ghibli movies.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess Dragon Balls, yeah, I've also liked, especially the older ones.
Oh, yeah. Mine too. Last one. Do you like durian?
I do not like durian.
Oh,
Nope.
yeah?
I don't like durian. I can't handle the taste or the
Oh,
smell.
shoot.
My family says I'm not Cambodian because I don't
Oh
like
my gosh.
durian.
Would you do like a durian like boba or something?
That is okay. Durian
Okay.
flavored things like durian wafers, durian cookies I can eat, but I cannot eat the
But not
fruit
the
straight.
actual
Nope.
fruit. Gotcha.
Nope. It tastes like burning tires to me.
Oh, wow. Gotcha. All right. Well, Thank you so much, Sam, for joining me with
No
our
problem.
this.
Thank you so much for having
Definitely,
me.
definitely. All right, so please join us next time for another episode of Cultural Arts Talks and be well.